What's going on, you guys? This is Kyle from Team Skyfox coming at you with a fun deck profile here at our Hidden Summoners box tournament. I'm here with our first place winner who also got top 18 at the recent Toronto Regionals, but he also altered a deck, which is fine. It's understandable. But I'm here with Mr. Zach Carr. Zach, how you doing today?
Good. So yeah, I played this at the Toronto. The only difference was in Toronto, I played like Secret Village, Dualities, 1-for-1s, which they weren't bad, but I felt like a lot of the time, especially Duality, was very dead in my hand. So I figured, I saw a couple topping lists using the tech in here right now, and I figured I'd give it a try, give my own little spin on it. It worked out decently, but it requires a bit more testing before I can actually give you a pretty, definitive result on it.
Alright, cool. So let's go on to that profile, shall we?
Alright, so we play the standard. We play the standard 3 Marionetta, because this is not an opening card, believe it or not. This is your second turn card every time. But if it's better than nothing, right? 3 multi-figure, because it's your deck, and if you don't have this, you cry, and when this goes to 2, probably I'll cry. 3 Mellow Seek, which is actually your starter. You want to grab that multi-faker and you want to win that game against T-Dragons. You can go first with this and you get the multi-faker. You're like win. You bounce, you resurrect, you keep doing it, you keep looping, and they keep dying. 2 of the boy. I would like to play 1, but he'll be. I don't know. He's too good to play at 1 in case you banish him off Desires. Spoilers. And the second one usually doesn't hurt too bad. It's a freaking Garnet though. If you open it, you lose like half the time. Right, like, cool. This is literally a dead card in your hand unless you have spoofing. Right. And then 3 hand traps, because Ash hits the meta and it works, and like Ghost Circuit's pretty crap. And main decking something like Ghost Bell or DD Crow is kind of dangerous. Maybe at a regional, maybe if I went to like a YCS I might think of it, but at a regional, it's not worth.
Alright.
The only 2 spells in my deck right now, 2 Pot Desires. A lot of people like to play this at 3, but this thing clogs so hard at 3. I have the amount of times I've drawn Desires in multiples, even at 2 sometimes happens, or that I have drawn Desires off of Desires, that's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth my risk. And like, I lose more, I find myself like losing a lot if at this at 3, because like if you go neg, if this gets Ash or something, you're already in trouble. But like, if you get Ash and then you draw into this, you've just lost your game right there. There's no way to come back. Alright. For traps, which is about 100 freaking cards, I swear.
Yeah, I saw that, and all I see is like 2 cards for spells, and I see a giant stack. I'm guessing that's like your back row.
So impermanence, there's not real explanation needed. This card makes your deck broken. Its interaction with multi-faker wins you games. You get to go plus like 1 or 2. I don't know the exact number, but this gets you your Hestia. This gives you a Protocol, a Hestia, a Marionetta, all at once. It's too good. Too good. And, especially with one of the other techs in this, you can kind of use it to stop floodgates a little bit. Because, well, I'll show you when I get there. Spoofing. Spoofing. It helps you unclog. If you do draw your kind of deader monsters, it helps you get going. It helps you kind of scribe for whatever you need. And it lets you do some pretty cool plays, the manifestation and whatnot. So it's pretty. Yeah, I would never, like, yeah, you can really clog. I've seen myself clog on 3 before, because having a second one does absolutely nothing. But it's worth the risks, because if you don't open at least semi-optimally against any of the meta decks, you're gonna lose that game, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, cool. The next card is
3 Mind Crush. This catches people right out of the water. A lot of people have been starting to play this lately. It's really good. It's also another target for one of the cards I'm running. And it's just really well. It works really well because, like, Bar and Twin Twister, you get Skywreckers, for example, they go first. They engage. If you see them add something that isn't a Ray, you can pretty much blind call Ray and you'll be right half the time. And if you do see them add Ray, you hit Ray. And with the amount of other back row you have in this deck, you should be able to shut them off pretty easily. Secret Village is, on a note of Secret Village, and I think Secret Village is still really good. The only problem with Secret Village is it doesn't do enough in a lot of situations. Going second against Thunder Dragon's god-awful Gokis, Death T, or the FTK if you actually manage to live, which you probably won't. You're probably gonna die. But it just doesn't do enough. And it's a Garnet in your hand if you don't have something else. Like, it's a complete dead brick card, so that's why I'm trying to test without it. At the regional, it did do some work, but I've also won 1 or 2 games, drew more than 1 when I needed to draw anything else, and I died. So I'm testing without it. Same with the horse. The horse is really good. But I'm trying to test without it because I find there's a lot of situations where he's just really not that applicable. And kind of like Silkwadis, if you don't have something else to start your plays in your deck already, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits there. You can kind of stall with him, but you're going to be outed pretty quickly. And now, again, if you're not opening at least semi-optimally, you're probably not winning the game. As long as you can get that one turn to kind of go, though, you can generally just steamroll the rest of the game. So that's kind of what you want to play for. You want to make your deck as consistent and good as possible. The tech card that people have been starting to run more, 3 Trap Trick.
So why do you think this card is this a good card?
So not only is it it kind of lets you search for exactly what you want. This is theoretically 3 different traps based on the situation. Like I said, with impermanence, let's say you're under Gozen, you can actually use it to turn off Gozen because you can put the Trap Trick in the Gozen lane, and it works. It's a good activatable trap. There's a lot of things. What you don't want is too many traps that you can't just rawly use. So if you have Multi-Faker and let's say you only run things that have triggers and they don't hit the trigger, you're still kind of stuck. Which, that generally doesn't happen, but it's possible. That's why I don't run Manifestation at 2, because Manifestation at 2 is incredibly bricky. And I never want to see it in my opening hand. Never. So this is why I think this card's really good. If I was going to a regional, I'd probably be main decking Heavy Stormduster. Because with Heavy Stormduster, fighting my own deck, or Sky Strikers, or any random rogue decks even, if you go first, you can have the Trap Trick set on the end phase, set the Duster, pop 2, and you probably just win the game right there. If you're against Sky Strikers, you turn off their multi-roll. You're against Geist, you can turn off the Protocol, spoofing, all of it. And especially if they Protocol and you have the HST, or especially if you set HST and they have the Protocol, they're basically locked because if they attempt the Protocol, you're going to make them go -1, and then you're going to pop the Protocol and another back row, and they've probably just lost the game right there. Because your effect's still going through, and they've just win -3. Really good. I tend to side it out against really heavy combo decks, going first because I don't think it does enough, and like it just doesn't do that much against like Thunder Dragon's another one. This isn't very good because like your targets in your deck don't make the hugest difference over cards that you could be running that make a bigger difference. Like I'll show on the side. But yeah, this card's really good, especially game 1. And against a lot of decks, even game 2 and 3, it's really good.
Alright, cool.
That's one of the reasons Mind Crushes also ran, because Mind Crush is a target for Trap Trick. So it's really good. The other target for Trap Trick, 3 Reckless Greens.
Is this just a boost of consistency 100%?
Yeah. Theoretically, you know, let's say you have what you need already, and then but let's say you start with a bunch of traps and they kind of grind through your back row, and you still have Trap Trick. You can let yourself go to your next turn, and you can draw, and then you can flip the Trap Trick, red the Reckless, and Reckless for 2, which, you know, accelerates you quite a bit. On top of that, theoretically, you could hit Multi-Faker off a Reckless, which is just like GG, your sack, but it's quite possible. So it increases consistency. It's also just like you need normal traps to play Trap Trick. That's the thing, which is why it's kind of a mad card, to be honest, in a lot of situations, because you need to run traps that are theoretically suboptimal, but at the same time, it lets you also run traps that are optimal. So it's kind of like a coin flip here. That it's worth like running something that might be suboptimal in some situations to run cards like Mind Crush or HST, which are optimal. But yeah, I've played in testing and the games I've played with it. It's actually done quite a lot of work. There's been times where, you know, I'm out of resources and I just kind of need to get my start going and have Trap Trick, and I get the Reckless, and a Reckless into a Multi-Faker or a Mellow Seek or even a Spoofing, and kind of can get my engine going. So it's really good. It's a searchable pseudo Pot of Greed that makes you like nag 2 after, or it doesn't make you nag 2, but it makes you not draw. But if it gets you engine going, you don't really need the draws at that point because you're going to be getting so much advantage and so much control purely off your Altergeist core.
Alright, awesome.
Next, the Altergeist traps, 2 in 1. 3 of this card. I always kind of back and forth on this card. This card at 3 is not terrible. It's actually pretty fun. And a lot of times, if you have, especially if they don't see that you have this, they won't play around it. Like if they see you set it, they'll play around it. But they don't see you set it, they'll assume you don't have it sometimes. So especially if you go like Mellow Seek and you have a Protocol, you can actually catch a lot of people off guard and get your Multi-Faker in the process, or anything of the sort. It's just really good. Especially if, like, let's say you flip up a Spoofing or something, right? And you summon a Multi-Faker friend, people won't think you have this. You flip this up on their Ash, and they just die. Same with Manifestation versus Ghost Spell or Avid. The only issue is all of these cards are really terrible if you don't have something to play them with. which is why this card's at 1. I'll take, you know, I'll suck it, I guess, when I banish it off Desires, but it's not worth the risk to brick and not be able to play the game. Next, the boys themselves, the Solemn Package, Warning, Judgment, 3 strike. I think Strike is just too broken of a card a lot of times. It hits everything in some capacity. It's not bad against any deck. Going second, it kind of hurts. But there isn't a whole lot you can be running second unless you want to main 3 evenly matches or something, right?
Yeah, it's like one of the only good Solemns that are at 3.
Yeah. You're against Gokis, you stop that Stork Summon, you stop that Firewall Summon, you stop the Assault Summon. You're against Dragons, you can stop the Summon, you can stop the Roar, you can stop the Dark, or the Hawk. Against Strikers, you just turn off their Summon, and generally they have a hard time coming out from that unless they have like Shark Cannon to resurrect, but especially at turn 2 into the game when they're just playing, they usually won't have a whole lot. So this one strike can completely turn their deck off. So it's broken, and it's Judgment. This card is unbalanced, shouldn't be off the list. It's broken. It stops literally everything conceivable. It's broken. I don't know why Judgment's there, but you know, it's great, so I'm going to keep playing it. And Warning, because it's kind of like Strike, but slightly less versatile, but it still can completely change the pace of a game and completely control the game because it's Warning. Well, it's at 1, boys and girls.
Alright.
And Order, because I don't like letting my opponents play the game.
And Strike.
Yeah.
Right,
Or going second against, or going first, I mean, against Thunder Dragon's really good. Onto the side.
Alright, cool.
So this is kind of a gimmick. It's kind of a gimmicky tech because I didn't have a third Ghost Spell. I couldn't find one.
2 Ghost Spells and a DD Crow.
Essentially, I'm using these for this and these for almost the same purpose, which is just to stop the FTK. And Crow can do what Ghost Spell does as well. You can just banish the Graph out of the graveyard, so it still works. It's just this slightly has more versatility because you can put this thing against like Thunder Dragons or something and stop fusion and whatever. So, you know, it's still good, but it's a little gimmicky, I won't lie. It's a DD Crow, come on guys. We're in 2018.
Yeah.
Duster, because I love Duster, and against the Mirror or Strikers, it's broken going first because they'll probably lose the game if this is resolved. Pretty straightforward. You hit the multi-roll, you hit the spoofing, you hit the protocol, or you hit the multi-roll, and yeah, you win. Or you just hit random ass back row. If they only have like 2 back row, you just kill it. 2 or 3 back row, you kill 2 of it. Who knows? Maybe you hit a strike. Border wins games, creates tears. This card is possibly the dumbest normal summon I've ever friggin' seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a 1 card skill drain that you can't MST. So, and it's literally good against everything but Strikers. You play against Goki and you have this in some back row, you should win that game. You play against my own deck, they just scoop right there. There is no playing to be done. You fight the FDK, no dangers can do jack. You just win. So yeah, broken card, super good. Would never not side unless the meta is like all Strikers again. Even then. It's 3 cards. It's 3 cards in your extra deck to essentially like seal like 4 different matchups out of the game. So, best card NA. It's evenly matched. This does have, you know, obviously its downfalls, and if you don't open it, you probably are gonna hate your life because if you draw this later, it's usually pretty freaking dead. But even like, there's a lot of times when you know it's the mind game with siding, right? And maybe they make you go first. But if you have like Meloseek, Link Haribo, and this, you can still do some pretty crazy shenanigans. This card has single-handedly won me games because there's a lot of decks that can't afford, especially against Altergeist, to not commit the board. If you're fighting, I was fighting True Draco at Regionals, and he had to commit to the board because you're close to time, and this blew him out. And like, you could have theoretically just not dropped certain cards and kept cards in your hand, but then you risk falling behind to me, and once you've fallen behind to Altergeist, it's really hard to come back because they're going to start negating, bouncing, stopping, and negating again all over. So it's really good because it's a card that is super good against a lot of decks because they're forced to commit against you, and when they do, you just blow them out of the water and win the game. And 3 mind control. Because against T-Dragons, it's really good, and against Sky Strikers, it's really good. This matchup is pretty free against T-Dragon usually, but if you go second and open like Colossus, or like double Colossus, and you have a Meloseek, and all I have is like a Meloseek, let's say, what you can do is you can like mind control 1 Colossus, and then summon Meloseek, and then get rid of the other Colossus, link them both off, make something, Phoenix or what have you, search, and you just shut them out of the game, because they probably win pretty hard to make that. They don't have too much left. So you'll just win. Against strikers, this completely turns off, especially going second. Their high time winner, their high tay, Shizuku, Kigard, the whole, or bleh, it doesn't turn them off. It turns off Ray. It turns off Ray and you win the game.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have something to deal with it right then and there, they're probably not going to be able to come back in the game. They're going to steal it. You're going to probably like steal it, make a high tay or something, summon Marionetter, and then set your back row. And they've just nagged, and you're sitting there like happy plus with a friggin' jackpot. So, yeah, good card, great card. In the mirror, it's whatever. If they have like Silquidus Multifaker on the board, you can force the Silquidus bounce and kind of go off. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
And now for like gimmick ass extra deck, because I didn't play cherries and like you don't use Muscless. 3 of the card that you actually go into. This is. Oh. I think they know what it is.
Yeah,
it's 3 Hextia. It's a great card. It's your lifeline. It's how you win games. The double Hextia's play. Double Hextia gives you like near game damage. Double Hextia plus Marionetter's near game damage with 2 negates with a protocol that's priced in there. So they're probably not playing through that. 2 Link Rebo. The only other card you might go into. This is at 2 to out border. Because theoretically, if you're up against a border and you don't have the mind control, that's another thing, mind control styles border. This will allow you to, if you have like Multifaker in hand, you can Link Rebo, get your one effect, use the Multifaker in hand, granted you have a trap on top of all this. It's a lot that you might theoretically need, but if you don't have that, you're probably just going to lose the border because you're Alter guys. And then you link both them off and you make the Wee Witches. And this is, you're out to border, right? It outs border, and a lot of times, you know, if they don't have something else to really go with the border, this can kind of start the game really well. Start really controlling the game from then, and hopefully you have something else left that you can kind of start your plays off. And the rest is random jank. You got Triple Burst because Ram jank, and theoretically against Sky Strikers it can do something. Or BAs if you're like swinging into, I don't know, Farfa. God knows. A Prime Banshee, technically this is an out to Falcon and a really easy one. And like there's other outs to Falcon in here, but this is really good because it's the only out to Falcon that can be made under your Multifaker turns. Whereas like the other ones, you need to get there without using Multifaker on the same turn, which sometimes can be a pain in the ass. Phoenix, because it's generic, it's removal, and it's a link to.
It's also good in a mirror match, right?
It's if you can make, generally, if you can make Hestia even in the mirror match, you will. But, like, theoretically, if they're just sitting on the one back row, like a spoofing or something, I don't know. Actually, no, that's still in, I don't know, this into the mirror doesn't really do a whole lot. You can, like, force out a bounce, maybe, or force out a strike, but you're not a combo enough deck to where half the time, if you get negated, in that sense, you don't really keep playing the game. You generally stop for the turn and let your hand was nuts, or, like, you had, like, Marionetter, and then, like, you flip the trap, and then you had Multifaker and use Multifaker. But, like, then you wouldn't be able to make Phoenix in the first place. So it's not really a mirror card.
Okay.
It's more just because it's a link to, and kind of like as a mind, like if you mind control, you can make this.
Yeah.
Unicorn, it's generic. If you have like, especially with, again, mind control. If you have like mind control and you already have the Hestia board, you can just steal it, make this. Add off Hestia so you have future plays, and also spin another card back. So you, especially against something like Rogue, I think it's really good against Rogue. Like even against like Dinos, if they had like a Tyranno, you could like use this to theoretically force them into using the Dinos effect. If there's a card that you know you don't want in the graveyard and don't want their hand, like let's say your opponent has I don't know, maybe a BA monster, maybe a Dante, for instance. You can use this, get rid of it, not trigger the effect. But yeah, again, you're probably not going to make this. You're Alter, guys. There's Hextia. That's all there is to it. Space Insulator, because it's a down arrow that's a link to, and I wanted a down arrow link to. I made this once, and I lost because I was against shit all dinos, and I'm a bad player. Ningirsu doesn't target removal, easy to make. This, yeah, again, it's another way to out. Well, this isn't for Falcon. This is for outing untargetables, because theoretically you could be finding like a Chaos Max Dragon or something, right? And this is your out. This would be good out to it. Boral Sword. This is your. Yeah, again, this is kind of an out for everything that you would. This is an out for anything you'd ever need to out with Ningirsu or Prime Banshee. This covers both bases. half the time, if you can ever summon this, you'll probably win the game. Claire and Rushka, I don't run Secret Village. Or even now, I don't run Secret Village, but this actually has some utility with Mind Control. Yeah, like, let's say you Mind Control a border, or you Mind Control Danko, and you don't actually have a play other than that, you can turn one of them into the Claire and Rushka. And that can seal games, it can really help. It gave me my top, because someone dropped, I had like Protocol and Manifestation, or Manifestation, Protocol and a Multifigure, and I wasn't expecting the Danko. And he dropped the Danko, but I have Mind Control, so I was able to like steal his guy on the next turn that didn't die, make it Claire and Rushka, and on his turn, bring up my Multifigure, bring up my Silkwidis, and just, you know, turn off his deck. And then Hayate, because I'm playing Mind Control, so I need some target to actually turn it into, so Hayate's pretty good. There's like different gimmicks you can use to actually make this go into like an Alistar, then Invoker of Madness, but there's it's not worth running like a Hornet Drones in my extra deck or in my side deck and whatnot, so the one Hayate seems to do it.
Alright, cool. Well, that's it for the deck, right?
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, like anything in the deck that you want to change, or any shoutouts that you want to make for anyone?
So I'd like to shout out my boys Ray and Dave for going with me to a regional. Cal sucks and couldn't top, so that's my shout out to Kyle. But yeah, no, it was a fun day. Kyle almost made it. So good job, Kyle. You almost did.
Thanks.
That one actually wasn't sarcastic. It probably sounded like it.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Shout out to Skyfox, I guess, because it's my locals and I'm too poor to drive anywhere.
Alright, cool. Thank you so much, Zach, for the deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe if you're new to the channel. But without any further ado, this is Kyle. Peace and out.